You did what to a cat? Shane Dawson has been with YouTube since 2005. He has 21 million subscribers. Due to some past statements and more recent events, one could argue that Shane Dawson is a furry.
Now, if you don't know what a furry is, basically it's a person who wears an animal suit and they take on a fursona. And some people like to have sex in the suits and some people don't. Me personally, like, that's the first thing I would do.
I think one of the defenses here...
Just edgy jokes. And then I told him, you need to make some type of statement. He said this on Twitter. I didn't f*** my cat. Okay.
Is potentially that Shane Dawson has a somewhat dry sense of humor that perhaps doesn't translate well. I'm not entirely sure. That sometimes...
I didn't f*** my cat. I didn't come on my cat. I didn't put my dick anywhere near my cat. I've never done anything weird with my cats. I promised myself I wasn't going to make apology videos after last year's thing, so I'm just trying to be short and honest as possible.
Doesn't get telegraphed very well because of his delivery.
I've apologized many times for all the dumb shit I've said in videos and podcasts over the years. I've learned my lesson over and over again, and I'm more confident now in my ability to be entertaining by just being myself and not being so shocking for laughs.
I'm sure Shane will be understanding if I'm also lol, just kidding.
That story was fake and based on a dumb, awful sketch idea I had years ago that I never made. Thank God. And when the opportunity came up for a funny moment in the podcast, I told it as it was a real story, which was disgusting and very, very dumb.
So as long as I provide lots and lots of mocking, deriving, and satirical tones that aren't meant to be taken seriously, we should be alright in Shane Dawson land, because that would be consistent. Shane and people can forgive a lot of things, but they tend to be sticklers for inconsistency. The first time I ever heard of Shane Dawson, a man who had over 4 billion views on YouTube, wow, that's kind of mind-numbing to think of that, it was during the Keem the Wolf drama. Drama is a weak word.
Getting caught. In September of 2018, leaked screen caps of Keem's private Telegram conversations were posted onto Twitter by a zoophile using the handle pseudonym. As part of a massive leak exposing a depraved zoosadist pedophile sex ring within the furry community, a group which Keem just happened to be a part of. Rather than properly turning the info over to the police, Zoonim decided to create some lulz instead. After people saw the leaked screen caps, millions commented, wondering what the fuck was going on. Although some of the initial pictures of what appeared to be Keem with tattoos on his body fucking a dog were proven to be someone else. Later proof would come out that would show how fucked up Keem really was.
There's a video out there called Keem the Wolf the Zoophile. Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe old chocolate-stained Shane, lol. that's one of those jokes Shane didn't have the power of hindsight. Maybe Shane Dawson couldn't look into the future and see what a ghoulish monster that someone he covered would turn out to be, who skyrocketed from 10,000 subscribers to eventually, well, over 100,000. Now, some people might call it negligent that Shane would talk to someone like Keem, and then when the news hit, that he just took down the video and act like it never happened. But I understand, Shane. That's just your quirky sense of avant-garde comedy. Here, let me grab a clip here from this video. It's Ashley Zofox interviewing Keem.
Why was he following a zoophilia account on FA?
Like I said, I was a fan of feral art. I thought it was cool. I was into it. That's why I followed them, because I like feral art. So, yeah. Told him fantasies about art and different stuff like that. We just had that bro talk, per se, you know, like locker room chat.
Right.
I play this clip here because I feel that there's a sense of familiarity with this and Shane.
My goal with the podcast and with my videos years ago was to tell shocking stories that would make people laugh and scream, "Oh my God, no you didn't," and think it was so crazy, it's embarrassing, and I fucking hate myself for it.
Locker room chat.
Right.
Of course, I'm just kidding. That's how this works, right, Shane? It's just me being funny and ironic for shock value to get people thinking about these sort of topics. But let's look at Shane's video.
To Google and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to see.
You're gonna get arrested.
I know, but I didn't want to see child porn. But I just wanted to see, like, okay, Let me pretend like I'm a pedophile for a sec.
Okay, by the way, just for the record, police, I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know this. Like, you can literally get arrested for saying
I know,
this.
listen, let me finish. Sorry. So I typed in naked baby. First of all, I don't understand why anybody would be turned on by that.
That I turned this live stream on.
Yeah, but you could say I'm a pedophile all you want, but I'm not a pedophile.
Have you talked to Rex lately?
Yeah, I have. But how the fuck is looking that shit up not messed up?
Dude, looking up kids in the bathtub isn't fucking pedophilia. The only reason why it's pedophilia if you jerk off to it. I didn't even jerk off to it.
So for context, the first scene is regarding the rumors about me today is from Shane Dawson. The second video is a video called Rub-a-Dub-Dub about a man with next to no following who said he looked up naked pictures of children, and I think everyone who knows of Ross and has done any digging about him might agree that it's not going out on a limb to say that his presence would likely endanger children. If you disagree, my comments section is down below. There's a 3-part series on that matter. I'll leave a link to each of those in turn. The difference I see is about 21 million subscribers between Ross and Shane Dawson. Ross has no fans that I can think of that aren't of the ironic sense. But relax, Shane. If you're offended by any of my statements, I'm just kidding. And I can't help that you don't understand the inflection of my tone or my satire. And if that's confusing, much like anyone else who might be confused by anything that you said, well, I hope you can see why that in and of itself is kind of funny.
I cannot believe that I am having to make this video. I cannot believe that this is happening. I'm gonna start by saying, I am not a
Dear Shane.
You want to see Miley do in the next video? What do you want to... You want to see me and Miley make out? Oh my god, that's a piece of poop.
That dog appears to be a puppy. In the video that you had your fans pick out the name for the dog, I'm going to assume that dog is in its younger years. After all, you're naming it. You are French kissing this prepubescent dog. Well, what is likely a prepubescent dog. And it is possible maybe you weren't thinking when you did this. I don't have a hard time believing that Shane Dawson wasn't thinking. Now, whether or not Shane seems natural at doing this sort of thing, as in this has potentially been rehearsed, as in this wasn't just a one take. If you consider a man putting his tongue on a puppy's tongue is abuse, well, there is another instance of Shane doing that here.
Big deal because this is a big dog.
A big ass dog.
No, it's huge, and it runs at you.
That's a wolf. He's half wolf. Look at him. He's like, queen, give me a cat.
Queen. Out of his mouth. So gross.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Me. That was me when I was in 8th grade. Oh my god. He does this every time.
It gets over very quick.
You didn't flinch, you didn't snap up to go get some mouthwash. You looked as comfy could be. That's funny, Shane. I think you're joking when you're getting upset at me laughing. You funny guy.
I, Shane Ya, my real name, go on record saying I am not... Got it? Great. Here's my statement. Because everybody's saying, Shane, make a statement. There's my statement. I'm not a It's disgusting that people are saying I'm a because of some shitty ass fucking jokes from 6 years ago on a podcast.
Now, Shane, did you say a bunch of edgy, creepy, poorly chosen words? Back when you supported and promoted Kira the Wolf, you snapped down your video without addressing that topic. I can believe that you think that you're the victim here. I can believe you can't believe you had to make a statement. That's a laugh riot, Shane. You cheeky comedian, you.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apologize first. I am sorry that I used to make really shitty fucking jokes. I am sorry that I was so fucking, like, insecure and, like, playing this character of this guy who's, like, crazy and will say anything and, like, tries to make people laugh by shocking them.
Well, Shane, I'm sorry. I'm insecure that you made out with a dog at least twice, potentially more, and now I'm kind of terrified of you. I'm sorry I'm too bigoted and closed-minded to get behind the comedy of physically loving on your pet, which in all likelihood can't legally consent in most states.
But back in the day, from 2008 to 2012-ish, maybe 2013, that was my thing. I thought it was so... I loved the feeling of making somebody shocked and laugh because they couldn't believe what was coming out of my mouth.
Notice he said 2008 to 2012-ish.
Anyway, I want that on top of me. I want to lay there and I want him to attack me. I want him to rip my throat out with his teeth.
Now, this video itself isn't up anymore. There's a mirror to it. I'll include a link down below. But for as good of an idea of when Shane's video was up, Kiro did a reaction video to Shane Dawson's video. It was up July 10th, 2017. Now I understand videos do take time. The first video here is weird cat products that I bought online December 4th, 2017. And my friend got life in prison December 5th, 2017. That means Shane could have had as little as one day to turn around for a video, depending on complexity. So let's be super generous and say that Kiro needed 2 months to make his reaction video, putting Shane at around May 2017, when his video originally dropped on Kiro. If I'm completely off, again, comments section down below. I'm not attempting to mislead anyone. You know what, enough of this. I'm not CSI, it's enough guesswork. I think it's a safe bet. When Shane talked about Kiro ripping his throat out, happened a couple years after Shane said he had allegedly grown up and was no longer using shock humor. Now, me poking holes in Shane's story doesn't mean he diddles kids. I just think it's funny. We've established by Shane's definition that we have a wide berth of what funny is. So I gotta ask Shane, do you still French kiss your dog? Again, Shane, why do you feel that you should be allowed to own animals? It's funny that you think that that might be a healthy environment, and why Kiro the Wolf has, well...
On number 4, that's a real cherry out of the entire tweet chain. Some of these people were my friends. I burnt relationships I had with others for years for this. But you know what? When I find out my friend fucked a puppy to the point of splitting it open and left it for dead, that's not a fucking friend. Let's jump into these conversations and see what we can find. Sorry for not responding last night, I passed out. But yeah, I'm okay with necro stuff if it's not that bloody. But I'm totally against killing for sex. I only do it with roadkill.
When I first heard these stories, I assumed it had to be a troll. I also noticed that Shane seized on the pedophile claim. There are, to the best of my knowledge, no known images of Shane Dawson with kids. That's as far as human kids go. Shane said some really dumb things, and as for animals, it is possible that Shane Dawson just got really unlucky when he promoted Kiro the Wolf. That Shane Dawson, when he French kissed, I think there are at least 2 different dogs, I could be wrong, that maybe he was just a natural at it. Perhaps he was impaired by recreational substances that allowed him to do something so revolting and make it seem second nature. I'm not excusing it, I'm just spitballing theories. Maybe. It's possible. I do want to remind people, if any of this feels familiar, I can't tell you what to think.
Oh, cub porn. Love, 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 love. I always loved puppy butt. Same. I need some puppy booty. Same. Let's go grab ourselves a real cub. And an animal. Let's make some rare shit. And that picture's been edited for your sanity. Ooh, that would be hot. Oh, and it would be. I'm okay with humping a 4-month-old. Same. Sorry, I'm a yiffy. Das okay.
I can tell you when Kiro got busted for this, Shane Dawson was arguably negligent, if not on a legal level, then at least at a bare basic minimal on a moral level to warn his fans that went over to watch Kiro, or at the very least subscribe him. YouTube's subscription service being what it is, I wouldn't be surprised if Shane could say, I'm sure YouTube's broken system will have fixed that whole matter for me. That is something he could say or might say.
I want him to rip my throat out with his teeth.
2017. Look, you can say a lot of things. legally barring inciting violence, etc., there's a lot of things that you can say, and I'll be honest, if all Shane did was weasel out about speaking up about Kiro, something he's mostly responsible for getting Kiro as big as he is, and then all those creepy things he said about kids and animals, I'd still be here. I'd be here because freedom of speech and expression are protected, and I'd have the right to criticize Shane Dawson under those rights. Freedom of expression isn't freedom from critique.
Basically, there's a clip right now called Shane Dawson is a pedophile. And then it says proof. First of all, that's illegal. You can't say somebody's a pedophile and say you have proof.
Actually, Shane, that's a tort. It's a civil action. It's in pursuit of damages, which would be money, something of financial value. There would be no jail time involved. It wouldn't be a criminal proceedings.
Proof when they're not. There's a lot of legal words, I don't know, but I think there is a word for that. Defamation of character? I don't know. I'm not on CSI. I don't know.
So Shane, it is likely you would have to file a lawsuit and seek legal damages. Then based off the evidence provided, a jury of your peers would find for or against your claim. Those damages would likely be money. Keep in mind, if you lost Shane, incorrect or otherwise, it is likely that public opinion, at least for some people, would find you failing such a lawsuit to be damaging to your character and reaffirming of any allegations. After all, if you sued somebody for defamation for someone calling you a pedophile and lost, well, some people might call that a legal endorsement, correct or otherwise.
But it seems illegal to me to call somebody a knowing that they are not.
I don't know that, Shane. I, to the best of my knowledge, limited as it may be, know you're not charged with such a crime, but considering that Kiro the Wolf isn't in a jail cell, you know, Kiro the Wolf, that guy that you are desperately trying not to talk about, who, if I have my way, I will make sure that people remember you and him forever and ever until you address that.
Because one of their pieces of proof was taking a picture of me and Ryland, my boyfriend, and then a picture of me and Lisa, my ex, circling their faces and saying, they look like babies. They have baby faces. Shane's a pedophile.
This is literally the only place I've ever heard that, but like Kiro the Wolf, in a sea of accusations and allegations, are those the same thing? Anywho, there are bound to be a few red herrings. If you were to, say, date a younger girl or guy, even if it were legal, some people might call you creepy. People talk. People find ways to bitch about damn near anything. And seeing as how you're such a public figure, it's part of the price of admission. If you're dating anyone with a baby face, for what it's worth, I don't really give a shit. Shane goes on to say that people cut that part out because they thought that part was crazy. Yeah, I don't see how people having a filter or a standard on what they use and don't use is a negative against them. Unless, of course, you were to be a bit more specific, I might be able to gather a better response.
So 6 years ago-ish, I probably should have looked that up. Let me get an exact date. Okay, I don't know. A long time ago, I think 2012-ish. Yes, 2012-ish. This was from an episode of my podcast, right? So in the podcast, I'm telling a story about a little girl I saw in real life who was like, had makeup on and like the whole shabam. She was like a dance mom type of vibe. I don't know exactly what to call it, but that's what it was. And she was on Instagram and she was posting like really like creepy selfies and her dad was helping her and it was fucking creepy and it was like weird, right? So of course I take that story and I talk about it on the podcast. Now, of course, what they didn't also show in that video clip is me talking about how fucking creepy.
Okay, so recently, a YouTuber by the name of Just Destiny, a YouTuber with subscribers, got called out for making videos where he made fun of younger girls who dressed up in, well, let's just say slutty. The clothes that those girls were wearing looked trashy. A YouTuber by the name of Lieutenant Cobra implied Just Destiny might be, well, he inferred, he suggested, he hinted at that Just Destiny might be a pedophile. I believe the term he used was nonce. Just Destiny used thumbnails arguably to clickbait this topic, and he got criticized for this. If people can stare at Just Destiny for exploiting kids in such a manner, well, arguably exploiting kids. And you're saying that that kid that you used from before existed. Why can't you be criticized, Mr. Dawson? Do I feel that people should be chanting pedophile at you on top of their lungs? Probably not. I think you could use a little bit of shame. I think Shane Dawson could stand to be dragged over the coals just a bit. I'm not saying I'm perfect in handling this here. Each situation comes with its own complexities, its own unique variables, and Shane, maybe it's not fair. My mind and many others went to a real dark place here. And part of that is your inability to address things earlier. Maybe some people might not find this is a joke. Maybe I've fucked up in that form and fashion in trying to get the point across to you and your fans. Maybe it's just not funny. Maybe. But you are not the victim here, Shane. In closing, I do not have significant proof that Shane Dawson is a pedophile unless you count him kissing an underage dog to be pedophilic. And considering that some people look down at people who look at things such as cub art and consider that pedophilic, what would you call a man who's doing those sort of actions that might be arguably illegal, that would be illegal to do to a human child that he is now doing to an animal one? I think you're gross, selfish, insincere, reckless, and you are a detriment in YouTube in general. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
Why was he following a zoophilia account on FA?
Locker room chat.
So like you were a fan of something and then like you took it too far. But that's okay. You might be a furry.